on mixlr.com/Wake Up Call DT. However you're connecting with the show, thank you so much for tuning in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, here where sports meets that thing called life. Very happy to have you inside the Cafe Kubal studios. Cafe Kubal, there for you on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, where Kubal Co-works is as well. You can also find them on 401 South Salina Street, all four of those locations in Syracuse. In downtown Syracuse, inside of Galisanos Children's Hospital, and out in Manlius on 343 Fayette Street, and their newest location and their first ever drive-through location where we featured LeMoyne this past month with Mary Grimes as well as Bob Beretta on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road there for you in North Syracuse at Sweetheart Corner. So proud to be back inside the Cafe Kubal studios after traveling and being in our second home of the show, which is the great state of Florida. Down there for you with palm trees as well as Disney, plenty of sun, and now we're back up here in central New York. Hopefully, bringing you. I like that. I like that even keel weather. That weather that's 60s, mid to high 60s, low 70s. It's sweatshirt and shorts weather. That's the weather I like. So maybe we can have that and stick with that for a while here, as I'm very excited to be here for you as we unveil the LeMoyne College Dolphins men's basketball and women's basketball schedules. Came out just a few days ago, and on the heels of that, I have Nate Champion here with me for the men's basketball team. The head coach of the team and former player on LeMoyne is here to speak with us on the unveiling of his schedule in just a moment. And then coming up at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, Mary Grimes will do the same thing with her return to LeMoyne as she speaks on the release of the women's basketball schedule. And sandwiched in between is Sports Ends in a Vowel, coming to you a little bit earlier today with Gina Castelli, former coach for women's basketball that brought in Mary Grimes to LeMoyne. She is here with us today to speak on the importance of mental health. And then we'll round out today's show, as we always do every Tuesday, with the ingredients to success, proudly brought to you by Avicolli. So without further ado, I am more than happy to welcome back to the broadcast, and for the first time to speak on the 2021-2022 men's basketball schedule, and that is Mr. Nate Champion. Nate, how are we doing today?
Good, Dan. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm really excited to be here.
Absolutely, and you had some good news happen, since the last time that you were on the broadcast, some congratulatory news. So for those that don't follow you on the social medias, what can you say about your good news off the court?
This past Friday I got engaged, and I'm really lucky to find the special person that I found, and really looking forward to a lifetime happiness with her. So, but no, I appreciate it, Dan. Thanks for the shout out.
Absolutely, and you said this person, we got to shout her out. Tell everybody her name here.
Yeah, her name is Abby Gear. She's originally from my hometown in Logansport, Indiana, and we just reconnected a couple years ago, and just everything kind of fell into place, and I convinced her to move out to the beautiful Syracuse area, and that's just kind of history. So.
I like it. I'm happy, definitely happy for you, happy for Abby, and you got to shout her out by name, right? You should know this, Nate. I'm going to tell you something here. As a single man that has seen some very crazy relationships in my life that will one day be featured on Netflix, I can tell you that in everything that I've learned, if I've learned anything, it's that you shout out if you got a good one, you shout her out as much as you possibly can, and you make sure that she knows that she's appreciated. So on Wake Up Call today, we proudly shout out Abby, because I want to be treated right when I come to the game as well. When I'm waving, I don't want her turning that stink eye my way. So
absolutely. No, I'm looking forward to having her around, and her being at the games this year. It's last year we both missed the season tremendously, so I know she's looking forward to that as well, and she does put up with me and my crazy schedule, which is really nice as well.
Yeah, and to go into that for a second, I've talked to other coaches about this. When you are a coach, you have a very interesting schedule. As a broadcaster and as someone who commands a lot of myself, I push myself to kind of to have a very busy schedule. I know that I do. And so I can understand that though I am not a coach, in the world of sports, there are many of us that have very unique schedules. What can you say about navigating that to make sure you have date night, maybe you cook, maybe you take out the garbage, you do the things that you got to do. How do you balance work life, home life when you're with you as a head coach, fully understanding the world of sports? And I get it. I get that, you are not a 9 to 5. You're a 12 to 12. When you're sleeping, something could be happening. So how do you navigate and balance home and work life?
Absolutely. I think just what you explained, when you're home, try to be home, try to really take time to be there and, let her know that you're home and you can take a few minutes off of, recruiting calls and things like that just to, spend some time and, like you said, cook dinner or take the trash out, do something little that she knows you're trying. And although you may not have as much time as someone who works a 9 to 5, you're going to make that effort to do the little things. And I think that's one thing that I've put in the top of my priorities, just when I do have that time, when I do have a little, downtime to kind of relax, don't just go and lay on the couch, try to go and do something, try to have a date night, try to, cook dinner or do something special just, between you two. And again, let her know that she's appreciated. But I think that's one of the things we've spoken about a lot. And like I said, obviously my schedule is very hectic and it's about to pick up even more from the months of October to hopefully March and April. But when you do have that a little bit of time, you just make some time to make that extra effort. And I think that goes a long way. Are
you a good cook?
I can cook. And I wouldn't say and she hasn't told me anything that I've cooked is terrible. So I am capable, but I wouldn't say I'm on Top Chef or anything like that. So. Hey,
listen, man, as long as you can boil water and make toast, you're going to be okay. You're going to make it.
Exactly.
Here with Nate.
She's a lot more talented in that area than me, though. So.
What's the best thing that Abby makes?
Oh, gosh. Well, let's see. This week really I haven't had anything bad that she's made. But this week she made a tenderloin roast, slow roasted in a crock pot, and then pulled it apart and then made some pulled pork sandwiches and stuff. It was really good. And last night I thoroughly enjoyed my dinner. So, she's a great cook and she'll throw different recipes together, but, she can really cook just about anything. A good baker as well. She's always good for a few brownies and cookies too, which I tell her I got to slow down on. So.
Well, I only have one question with you describing all this morning on Wake Up Call, as I have not eaten yet, is why have I not either been invited as a third wheel, or why am I not getting some of the leftover stuff, being told hey, come to Ted Grant Court before the game or, before practice today and, grab yourself your box. So, very important as we move forward. And Abby, if you're listening, if Nate doesn't tell you this, I don't need to be there. I just need a to-go box. Is that fair enough to ask for?
Yeah, I'll have to get on that and let her know. So.
Yeah, I mean, you're describing, pulled pork. It's it's slow roasted, and then she pulled it apart, and then she made brownies, and I'm sitting here starving inside of the studio. But that's fine. We'll have to work something out here, Nate, and we'll make it happen. I think doing an interview between you and I during the season is going to be so much better served if we actually have food in front of us while we're doing a little bit of that Dolphin time. So
absolutely.
Yeah, maybe
I'll work on that. I'll make sure that next time there's a nice full plate of food in front of you.
I like it. I would appreciate that very much. And so, there's something to be said about, I think, interviews are better when you're eating better. So here with Nate Champion this morning, the schedule has been released. 2021-2022 is out in front of us. Before we talk about the schedule itself, last season, you and I spoke off the air about this. Such a difficult 18 months has it been for many of us. LeMoyne athletes, many spending over 600 days without any type of competition. What can you say about the fact that we just have a schedule, that there just is a plan, that there's a hope of getting on the court again? Before we get into what the schedule physically is and the games you're playing, to know the fact that there even is a schedule.
Oh, I mean, it just is a huge relief. I mean, last year, we would always come into the office early and, early on in the year and just wonder, like, what's going to happen? What's going to change today? And I think just having the schedule ready and our guys have something to look forward to. And to be honest, I mean, it's a really big kudos that goes out to Scott Peterson, the head, athletic trainer here and the head of the COVID office, and all the work that he's done, along with Bob and, the rest of the athletics, administration, that just the tireless, hours they put in and all the effort that they've put in just to make sure that we have a season and that, the fall sports were able to play this year along with spring sports last year. I mean, it's definitely not easy. And I know that there's times where I'm sure they'd rather go down to Florida and have vacation, and they were here, until 10 p.m., 11 p.m. and back in at 7 a.m. just working to make sure that we have a season, and that doesn't go unnoticed. I mean, the effort that they've put in to put us in this position is great. And, for our guys, it's something that they didn't have a chance to look forward to last year. I think we have, 9 guys coming back from last year's roster that didn't even have a season. And that's something just to be said for, again, the work that's been put in here by our administration and just having the schedule and the type of schedule that we have, I think just speaks volumes on the work that they've put in.
Could you even, how do you put a word or two on not having a season? Could you even have imagined that as a player yourself to just get the news like, hey, you're not injured. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with the school. There's nothing wrong with the team. The program is very much alive, but you're not playing. Have you found anything that you could say to these guys, and could you have even wrapped your head around it when you were playing?
When I was playing, I don't know. That would have been like cutting my legs off, I feel like, that just, it was a huge blow, and it was a huge blow to everybody last year that wasn't able to play. It was really hard for our guys to embrace that at the beginning. And for myself and the staff, that was something that just, you don't know how to feel. You don't know how to react. You don't know what to do, really. But we would speak about it, and we spoke about it a lot, just the resiliency of our team and the resiliency of our guys that were here last year, coming every day to work in our workouts when we were able to have them and getting better, knowing that in the future that's going to help them. And I think resiliency was the biggest word for us that we used last year, just, being able to come in not knowing, how many times we're going to have to test, where, are we going to test positive? If we do, what's going to happen? Being shut down, being put on pause, coming back, like all of that stuff, I feel like we used to our advantage just as we built our program. And the 9 guys we have coming back have been really good so far. And I think they have a more normal college experience this year, which I couldn't have imagined. I don't know. I think it would have been extremely difficult for myself to get as much out of it as I think our freshmen did last year. So big kudos to them. They, again, have just took it right in stride and have kept moving on. And, I think the biggest thing for us is we continue to work and continue to get better every day. And it's, it says a lot to the guys that we have on our team just in the way that they've handled this whole situation. So, again, next Friday, I guess, is official day. So,
hanging out here with Nate Champion, the men's basketball head coach for the LeMoyne College Dolphins, on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Cafe Kubal studios immediately following the release of their 2021-2022 schedule, and speaking on not having a season last season and navigating through that. So now you have life, you have a season, you have something in front of you. The first team that you're playing, an exhibition game on November 1st, thank goodness, this I don't think this team's that well known. And they definitely don't have a coach that's been around for, 3-4 decades, that's synonymous with this school, that, I think that, they'll probably freeze his head at some point and allow him to coach forever. So, there's no way that people would know who I'm speaking of when I say this, so we'll have to navigate them through that to the best of our ability. But you have an exhibition game against a team called Syracuse, and it's in a place called the Dome. And I don't know how familiar you are with all of these things, but it's a pretty nice game to start off the season with.
Absolutely. Coach Boeheim is a Hall of Famer, gonna be, he's one of the best college basketball coaches to ever coach the game, and it shows year in and year out just the type of program that he has at Syracuse. And last year going to the Sweet 16, and really a lot of people, I felt like kind of counted them out, and just his ability to continue to motivate players and continue to improve, and a lot of that goes to his staff as well. He has a veteran staff that has great experience, and obviously with those guys on staff winning at a high level as well. There's national championship in that group, and I think the biggest thing that I always see with Syracuse is they outperform expectations year in and year out. And what happens there is you start seeing the program and really the framework that Coach Boeheim has set and continues to build on. And, they go to the Sweet 16 last year. It was a great run that they had before, running into Houston, who was obviously a very, very good team. But the biggest thing that I see with Syracuse is the experience they have at the guard position. Buddy Boeheim is one of the best guards in the country, and, Joe Girard is right behind him there with their ability to stretch the floor. And then their activity in their zone is always difficult. So it'll be a great test for us. It's a great experience, for our players to play in the Dome, but it's also a great test, and it's a great way for us to kind of prepare as we start to, get ready for our regular season schedule. And it's a great, early test to see just kind of where we're at and what we can do with it.
Should this be an every year thing? Should this be kind of like a set it and remember it, that the two teams that are separated by a couple miles play each other? Should Syracuse, and even on the women's side of it as well, should we see LeMoyne and Syracuse have these, D2, D1 exhibition games of the team that's right, off of Erie Boulevard and the team that's right around the corner? Should this be something we get used to seeing? Because with all due respect to other teams that are inside the NE10 and whatnot, it doesn't really move anybody in Syracuse to see them play a St. Rose, or to see them, play a Pace or whatever it may be. Should we get more? And it's no disrespect to those schools at all. It's just LeMoyne and Syracuse are right here in our community, separated by a few miles. Should this be a normal exhibition game that we can get used to seeing? Kind of make it a little marquee Central New York event, so to speak.
I would love for that to happen. It seems like right now, we're on track playing them every other year, which, again, it's a great experience for our players. And I would love to play them every year. And I think, that's something we can definitely speak with them about. And, they're great for us. They're great to us. We have a good relationship with them. And it's definitely something that we've mentioned in the past. Right now, it kind of seems like we're on this every other year path. And that's not a bad thing either. I think there's part of that where it's every other year it kind of brings, generates a little buzz and generates a little excitement throughout the community, just seeing that the two teams are playing. And I don't know if maybe that is lost if we play them every year. But, I definitely think that's something we can speak about. And again, I would love to have that every single year, but I guess that's something we'll have to see if that comes about in the future.
That coming here from Nate Champion, joining us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Cafe Kubal studios, and speaking on that exhibition game against Syracuse that looks to be every other year and potentially maybe someday could be every year. After that, your first game that counts on the schedule in the win-loss column is the Indiana University of Pennsylvania, IUP, on November 16th on a Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The women's basketball team gets to start their season at home. You have to start your season in Indiana, Pennsylvania, and then you'll be back at home on November 20th against the University of New Haven. Two pieces of this. Thoughts on starting the season non-conference and not having your first game be at home and having the second game be there. Just what your take is on how that all shook out in the schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, again, like when I first got to LeMoyne, my thing is we want to play the top teams in the country. And we want to be a top team in the country. And I think this gives us a chance to do that. Indiana, PA, IUP is 28-2 in the 1920 season. They return almost everybody on that schedule or on that roster. And, it's a great test for us early. We're on the road and in an environment where they don't lose very often, and I think it's a great test for us. It's a great motivational piece for us to, look at every single day when we're coming into the gym, knowing that this is what we have to prepare for. And yeah, we are a newer team as far as players that have played in LeMoyne uniforms, but, we have to be ready to go. And I think this is a huge early test. And I think it's one that our guys are really looking forward to as well. But, that program at IUP is unbelievable. They've done a great job of just producing players every year. And, they're a powerhouse. They're going to be a top 5 team in the country when we play them. And, I just am really looking forward to the opportunity to travel down there. And, again, I think our guys are too.
So to have that tester, and what does a test like that do for you so early on in the season? Do you feel like it's an effective way of teaching the team to have it that early? Would you rather it be a little bit later? I mean, how do you view playing a team that you respect so much like Indiana University of Pennsylvania so early on in the season and as your first game outside of your exhibition?
Well, normally we have that, the St. Rose tip-off that for some reason or another got, kind of, I guess, taken away middle of the summer when a couple teams, didn't fulfill the spots there that they were supposed to. But that's, that happens. And I think as we approach the IUP game, that's going to be our first real test. And just I think it really sets the tone for just kind of where we're at. It gives us an opportunity to see, okay, are we able to compete with those top teams in the country? Are we able to win, or are we going to have a lot of work to do? And I think having that as your first game, it's a great opportunity, but it's also something that we have to remember that's not going to tell you what the outcome of the season is going to be in your first game. And I think it goes back to, when LeMoyne beat Syracuse. I think nobody would have expected LeMoyne not to make the NCAA tournament that year, but things happen. Injuries happen, different things happen to your team throughout the season. So it's a great way for us to kind of gauge where we're at, and it's a great way for us to build on where we want to go. So I'm really looking forward to that opportunity going down there to IUP.
And then from there, you'll be able to come home right after that and face off in an NE10 game against the university. of New Haven on Ted Grant Court, November 20th on a Saturday at 3 p.m. After your exhibition at Syracuse and your first game of the season at Indiana, you have two NE10 games back-to-back, University of New Haven and then on the road at the College of St. Rose. Thoughts about jumping right into NE10 play after those first couple games, and just what we can expect to see when the fans get back in the stands at Ted Grant Court when they see you for the first time on November 20th.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a great, again, another test right off the bat, playing two NE10 teams that are always very competitive and always a tough matchup for us. New Haven and us, I think, gosh, I can't even remember the last time that we haven't had a game that comes down to the last shot or, is going into overtime. Like, it seems like every single time we've played New Haven, it's a battle. And I think it's going to be no different this year. It is nice that we're going to be back home and that we're going to have students and people in the stand. And I'm really looking forward to that game. I think, again, another early test for us, and that's a great way for us to get started in the NE10 season. And then you turn around and you have to go to a very competitive St. Rose team at their place in Albany. Not an easy place to play. It's a smaller gym, but a great gym for basketball. And I think it's, again, you go on the road twice, actually, 3 times out of your first 4 games. And it's you hop right into it, and there's definitely no feeling sorry for yourself if you drop one, because you have another one you have to get ready for. And same thing goes if you win. You have to turn around, and we always tell our guys, how do you handle that success of winning and stay motivated for that next game. And I think with our schedule, that's one thing we have to do. You have to continue one game at a time, and you have to continue to get better as well.
And you have, before I let you go here, Nate Champion hanging out with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios on the heels of the release of the 2021-2022 schedule, including the exhibition game. You have 8 non-conference games at Syracuse University for the exhibition, at Indiana University of Pennsylvania, as we spoke about, at the University of the Sciences in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and then 3 games at home, Damon College, Mercyhurst, and Lake Erie, before you head out to Mock's Christmas Classic in Lakeland, Florida, at Florida Southern College and against St. Leo University. Bring me into what you feel you can get out of this non-conference schedule based on the talent you have. And then secondly, since I just got home from Florida, what it's going to be like for poor you on December 18th and the 19th to be down in Lakeland, Florida, where I will anticipate it'll be around 70 degrees.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, the biggest thing that we want is for our guys to compete at the highest level. Playing IUP, the Sciences, Damon, Mercyhurst, Lake Erie, Florida Southern, and St. Leo. I mean, all of those teams are going to be great tests for us. And there's no easy games on our schedule. Obviously, with the NE10, you know how competitive that is, competing every single day, knowing that it doesn't matter if you're at the top of the standings or the bottom of the standing, it's going to be a battle. And that's the same thing with our non-conference schedule. I mean, you look across the board, we play IUP, who 28-2, Damon 24-8 in the 1920 season. They went to the Elite Eight last year in a shortened season. Mercyhurst 12-1, went to the Sweet 16 last year. Elite Eight 3 years ago. Florida Southern was 29-2. They're the number 1 seed in the South region, and I know how good that program is. Obviously, coming from there, and knowing that Mike does a great job down there as well, just getting his team ready to play year in and year out. And then St. Leo, Lance Randall is a newer coach there. They were 7-1 last year. They lost their first game, and then they won the 7 games that they played. And he's going to have them ready to go. But I think it's a great opportunity for us. Again, to gauge where we're at. It's also a great opportunity for us to get some really big wins. And I think our guys are going to be ready for that. They came here to, compete for championships, and that's what we want, and I think playing the teams that we're playing in the non-conference sets us up to be prepared for our conference schedule and then hopefully postseason as well.
How well put together is this LeMoyne team? I think you said with 9 returning. How well put together is this team to make a championship caliber type of run this year?
I think our team is, I guess, how can I put it? We have 14 of our 15 guys have never played in a LeMoyne uniform. With that being said, we have a lot of depth in all of the areas we needed it. And I think the biggest thing that I see of this group is they're not afraid to get their hands dirty. They're not afraid to put the work in to get where we need to go. And they're really embracing that process. There's a lot of new things that they're learning. There's a lot of competition day in and day out. And our guys are really competitive, and they know that we have a target on our back. I mean, we've won the NE10 Southwest Division 4 times in a row, and we've been to the NCAA tournament each of those years. And they know the expectation here is to be at that level, and I think we're going to have a very competitive group. I'm not going to predict results, but I do know that we're going to go out, we'll compete, and we're going to continue to get better each night. So I'm really looking forward to this team, and I'm excited for the guys to have a year back on the court and something to look forward to as well.
And I'm looking forward to 2 things. This upcoming LeMoyne season for men's and women's basketball, and, of course, that food from Abby the next time we do a show together. So with that being said, Nate, as always, it is my honor and my privilege to be able to talk with you, and I thank you for all that you've done to try and hold this team together through the past 18 months and what your staff has done, and the credit to the staff at LeMoyne in general that you mentioned. And so I just want to say welcome back to basketball. And I very much am looking forward to covering a season that I hope is memorable in a lot of good ways for you coming up here very soon.
Absolutely, Dan. Thanks for having me again. Definitely looking forward to being on here, and I'll make sure that you have a plate of food the next time.
All right, I'm holding you to it, man.
All right, that sounds good. Sounds good.
All right, Nate, take care. Have a good day.
All right. Thanks, Dan. You too.
Take care. That coming from Nate Champion one more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. We'll take a quick step aside here on the broadcast, and as we come back, we'll be here with Sports Ends in a Vowel a little bit earlier today with Gina Castelli joining the broadcast as she does bi-monthly every other Tuesday. And today we'll be speaking on the very important topic that is in and out of the sports world, extremely, extremely imperative that you wrap your head around it, pun completely intended, when it comes to mental health. We'll be speaking on the importance of mental health right after this fast break, where sports meets life. Back inside the Cafe Cubal studios after spending a week of broadcasts in the great state of Florida, from St. Augustine to Orlando, and of course spending time in Jacksonville. It is my honor, my privilege, and I am so thankful that I got to do that, and now I get to be back here in my wonderful Cafe Cubal studios. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, here with you, and back with Gina Castelli right after this fast break. Avicolli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicolli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicolli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout central and upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, where you're listening, you're watching on Facebook Live on facebook.com/livenowdt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. So appreciate you being here, hanging out with us inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, and it is now time to welcome back to the show. You know, it's bi-monthly, it's every other week, but sometimes that week in between seems so long because when you have a good friendship and you have someone you appreciate, it just, you know, sometimes it seems too long. And, you know, she's busy. She's got a lot of stuff going on. She just asked me how I'm going to be doing all the stuff I'm doing. I should ask Gina the same thing. So I don't know how we do it. You know, I'm trying to orchestrate being a general manager to the Jacksonville Jaguars right now. She's obviously running the Bills as their president in the shadows. So she's doing a lot better of a job in the NFL than I am currently. But we are very happy to be here this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora in a segment that I like to call Sports Ends in a Vowel, with Italians bringing you sports. Gina Castelli, myself, Dan Tortora, and we are here today to talk about the importance of mental health. But before we go there, congratulations on everything you're doing with Buffalo. Outside of that one mishap in special teams against Pittsburgh, you have been a fantastic president in the shadows of this. An anonymous front office member of the Buffalo Bills. So congratulations to your very recent success and trouncing the Houston Texans who defeated the Jaguars, which makes me even more pissed off right now because I know the Texans aren't that good, and you just beat them 40-0. So how does it feel, and do you get a paycheck even though you're not on the actual front office staff list?
Good morning. I'm so happy. Feels great. Yeah, I wish I was on that paycheck list there. But we played great. Our defense played really, really well. So everybody, was talking about how it could be a trap game, and because we play the Chiefs on Sunday night, and I'm just so happy that we played like that was the last game we were ever going to be playing. So, we got a couple injuries right now, so we have to heal them up and be ready to beat the Chiefs now on Sunday. So it feels really, really good. I was sitting in my corner, like I said, in my little left side of the couch the other night. So.
What do you do when you're out of town for a game?
So I was out of town
for
the game before that, and I just kept moving around, whichever spot seemed comfortable. And so what ended up happening was I think they intercepted a pass when I was standing up, and I stood for the rest of the game. So I brought my shirt too. I'm not gonna lie. My siblings, I told you, they're all on it as well. So it's pretty cool.
You really are that Stevie Wonder song, Very Superstitious. So, I mean, I thought that I maybe can, and I'm kind of out of it, but in the sense of my superstitions, not really, I don't really have them anymore, but you fully embrace the world of superstition. And, I can appreciate that. I think my thing is that everything that I've worn the Jaguars have lost in. So, unless I'm supposed to buy an entire new wardrobe, they've lost in everything that I have. So, for the most...
You should try wearing a Bills shirt while you're watching the Jaguars. It might work.
You know what? I wouldn't put it past it that if I wear a Bills shirt, maybe it gives the mentality to them that they're supposed to step their game up, live on the Bills level, maybe. Something like that. So this could be a little prelude to the AFC Championship game, Bills versus Chiefs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I know the Chiefs haven't been playing so great. So, but we have some injuries. So we need to get Matt Milano back, in my opinion, because he's a great linebacker, and we need him to be there to defend their great tight end. So. I'm hoping that he'll be healthy.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what these Bills can do. Like I said, going into this season, I said this might be the most excited I've ever been for the Buffalo Bills as an adult. So, this is a good time to be a Bills fan. And Greg that's listening thinks I should be the general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Thank you, Greg. When I was in 11th grade and I took an intro to business class with Vivian Mannion, shout out to Mrs. Mannion, I had the beautiful opportunity of being able to pick a job and having to go up and speak about it. And I chose to be the Jacksonville Jaguars general manager. I still have the paper, and I believe I got an A+ on it. Shout out to Mrs. Mannion. And not only that, but she said to me, she goes, "Love the tie, nice touch." I'll never forget she wrote that note on there. I wore my Jaguars tie that day, and I didn't even realize I was wearing it until I got there.
Oh, my God. That's so funny.
So, just think about this. Let me paint a little picture. Let's ride back to 2001. 20 years ago, I wrote about being the general manager of the Jaguars. And in the last 20 years, I've seen little to no success. So, no offense to the person that currently holds the seat, but Gina, I don't think I could do any worse than a team that's 1-19 in their last 20 games. So I think that there could be a day where I can proudly say that I'm the Jacksonville Jaguars general manager, or I'll just intercept the call, and when they're trying to make their draft picks, I'll just come in on it and I'll make the pick for them, whatever I need to do.
Now, my question is, why are you a Jacksonville fan? Are you originally from there? Or?
You know that I'm from Syracuse, Gina. So
I know. That's why I'm like, why are you a Jacksonville fan?
I wanted my own team. I was a young child at the time they were coming out. I was like 9. And I just decided in 1995 that I wanted my own team. I wanted my own football team that nobody could bandwagon jump. I like the Jaguars. I like Fred Taylor. And I wanted to have my own team in basketball, and I chose Toronto in the same year. And, I'm a Raptors fan. I have seen every single one of my teams pretty much win a championship, every single one, and except for Jacksonville. And I was told, being a fan of the Diamondbacks, the Anaheim Ducks, and the Toronto Raptors, that it was like this eclectic group of teams that were never going to win anything. Why do I like Toronto? They're not even in America. It's such a stupid thing to do. And I'm still waiting for an apology for the 2007 champion Anaheim Ducks. I'm waiting for an apology for my 2001 Arizona Diamondbacks. And I'm waiting for a massive, intense, monumental apology from most of America for being a Toronto Raptors fan and waiting my 24 years for a championship. I still don't have my chocolates. I don't have my roses. I don't have my apology letters. I don't have the songs that were written for me. I don't know if all this stuff got lost in the mail during COVID, but I'm going to accept the fact that if you send it now, you can still be forgiven, as the Toronto Raptors was probably the most abuse I've ever taken for liking a team, them in Jacksonville. So Jacksonville is nowhere close to winning at the moment, but the Toronto Raptors did it already. And Gina, being a longtime basketball coach, all I want to know is, at this point, haven't I earned the right to get all of these letters and boxes of chocolate at this point?
As a longtime basketball coach, I've learned, don't assume anything. And don't expect anything.
I know.
There's a lot of highs, a lot of lows, and just, you do it for the love, because you have the love,
Yeah, I do it for the love of my Raptors. That's what I care about, is I do it for them Raps. So, speaking of, not expecting a lot and making sure that you take care of yourself, right? You take care of home base. Our topic today in Sports Ends in a Vowel with Gina Castelli inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is the importance of mental health. The overwhelming and incredible importance of taking care of your mind. I've spoken with a lot of coaches and players around the country and administrators around the country and said, you can lift weights, run on a track, study the playbook, practice like a mother, play your heart out, but if somehow, some way, something negative gets into your mind, all of those things are crippled. Your mind is the one thing that can take all of your hard work and either build it up or throw it in the trash. Let's speak first and foremost on how important and how strong the human mind is. They say we only have access to 10% of our brain, yet that 10% that we have access to can either cripple us or build us up. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, good, great comment there. I always say to the girls, don't let your mind or don't let your head take your heart away, and it's so true. I've had many players who were not in the best shape or better shape than some of my players, but mentally they were just a lot tougher and could just fight through maybe even a preseason run more so than a player that was in way better shape that should have been able to do it. And it's really, to me, I couldn't agree more, in the sense that we need to spend a lot more time in training our mind, just as much time as we work on, getting in good physical shape, because in an instant, just like you said, you could have it all going on, physically, you got all the skills and the talent and you're in best shape, but one negative thought can just derail you. And I've told you that even in golf, that's something that I've learned the most, is that you could be having this great game, and then if you just start putting in one negative thought, in your shot, it just goes out the window. And it's just such an important piece. It's, obviously a lot longer to talk on this topic than a half hour. And But as I told you, working at UAlbany, one of the things I'm doing is a leadership segment. So every week we spend a half hour on. Right now we're talking about just positive self-talk, and we're close to the end of this segment. And one of the things I am going to talk to the team about is how important it is to not just do it, but to make it a habit. Because the more that you can make positive self-talk a habit, the more that you're controlling your mind, and that's basically what it comes down to in sports. And, in mental health, there's so many different things, there's more to mental health than just, positive self-talk, I know. But this is a big piece, especially in sports. And, I can't emphasize it enough. The more that I'm in it, it's just so much more of the game, and so much more on life is about, positive mental health.
Yeah, and it really, I mean, it's with anything in life. It's about having that strong mind. And how do we build that up? I know, all of us are a little bit different, but what can you say are maybe some pillars to having a strong mind in a good way, a mind that works for you and not against you? Because the mind is a weapon, and sometimes that if we don't have control of that weapon, it's pointed toward us. And if we have control of the weapon, it's pointed for us. So how would you assess giving, maybe some big picture advice on having good mental health and making sure that your mind is something that works for you?
Well, the first thing is, I think really, really important is just plain and simple rest. I think that, if you lack sleep, that just spirals in a downward direction everywhere. That's number one to me. And obviously taking care of yourself. But when I was at LeMoyne and, currently at UAlbany with positive self-talk, the woman that we worked with is Lindsay Wilson, and she has a positive performance program. And she, her first talk is the science of why it's important to have positive self-talk. And one thing that was striking to me was that she said that during a day, you say over 50,000 things to yourself, and majority of them is probably negative. So as soon as you start doing that, you create this downward spiral. So in essence, what she was saying was that to be aware of the things that you're saying to yourself, while they're coming in, and, having the mindset of stopping it, so it's much easier said than done. But that's the first piece, is being aware of what you're saying to yourself. And then, and she said, you can't do away with all negative talk, but you can try to, have a ratio of 3 positive things to 1 negative. And that's the beginning of it, is just becoming aware of what you're saying to yourself. And again, I don't want to diminish the mental health. There's just so much more to this. I know that for some people it's way more bigger. It's way bigger than just positive self-talk. And I understand that. So, but, simply I feel that in sports, I think this is a big piece. And, and this is where it starts, is just becoming aware of it. And then as time goes on, what she has us doing is a more of practicing it. So positive statements and doing them on a daily basis, like 10 times a day, kind of like doing reps in a weight room, or reps on the track, or whatever. It's just constant repetition of saying the same thing over and over. Like, Gina, you are a great coach. You practice simple, like the skills every day, something like that, where you're constantly saying the same thing over and over. And those things actually empower you, and even if it's just for a little bit, it's a little bit longer than what you were doing. And the more that you can do this, the better it'll be. And so that's kind of a basic piece to it, but what I have found that it does work. And the first piece is just being aware of what you're saying to yourself.
Yeah, and I think that's huge. Like you said, the first piece, just knowing what you're saying to yourself. What words are coming out of your mouth to you, and how do you treat yourself? What do you say? Are you saying I'm a nothing, I'm a nobody, I'm garbage, I'm trash, I'm ugly, I'm stupid? Are you saying, I love myself, I'm strong. This didn't work out, but the next thing will. It really is true that you become what you you become what you say. You become what you it's what you put into your body is what comes out of you. And if you ingest hate and focus on hate, you become hateful. If you ingest love and you focus on love, you can see love and push that out more. And I think this has been a journey. The last 18 months for me has been all about mental health, and I haven't shied away from it at all. I tell people, listen, healthy mind, healthy body, healthy body, healthy mind. Lack of sleep, I know what that does to my mind. I know what, not exercising does to me. And so I've lived it. And I can tell people, hey, if you want to be healthy, you can be. And I understand that there's things that go a lot deeper. And there's, as Gina said, there's a conversation that can go on for days and years into different pieces of mental health. But on the daily, waking up in the morning, I always wake up in the morning and say, thank you, God, for waking me up today. Today is not mine, it is yours. And I will do everything in my power to celebrate, what I have with the time that you've given me. Number two, hey, Dan, how you doing? I love you. You look good. You feel good. I'm proud of you. You own your own, you own your own business. You have great people surrounding you. You do what you love and love what you do every single day. You have challenged yourself to be the best version of yourself, and I'm proud of you. Things like that, to uplift you. Think about because you got to think about it like this, folks. Well, that's never going to work, Dan. Well, okay. You probably say something negative to yourself every single day. You probably live through a memory. If you have a negative mindset, you're living through a memory repeatedly over and over and over again. So if you tell me that repetition of saying something to yourself doesn't work, I would say to you, and I would challenge you and say, well, your negative stuff to yourself is working. Your negative reinforcement is working. So why not shift it to positive reinforcement? I love you. I'm proud of you. There's certain words that I say to myself when I know that I'm being challenged. When my brain is just negative, or it's on overload, or I'm frustrated, or I'm exhausted, or I can't figure something out, there's certain things I always say to myself, and you have to find that thing that works for you to positively say to Gina, to say to Dan, to say to whoever's out there, hey, I love you. I'm proud of you. You'll get through this. What are we dealing with? Because worrying, being negative, and stressing out has never once solved a single problem in the history of the world. And I think if you lead with that worrying is not going to make it go away, stressing is not going to make it go away, it's going to make you go away. And so I think we just have to be very cognizant of the fact that we may seem trapped or feel trapped by our brains, but you have to understand that if your brain is taking control of you, it's time to shift it back. And some may need more help than others, but the path to taking care of yourself starts with a daily, repetitive, positive stance on life that you're going to have to commit to if you want to get better.
Yes, exactly. And two things to that, what you were mentioning as far as, having that focus, and we would call that more of a reset word. And, I really like this too. And this was very helpful for my teams when I was at LeMoyne, where, we would tell them to have a word when, let's say, they made a turnover, and it's always about the next play, right? So it's like if you dwelled on, the turnover you just made or the missed shot, the very next play is you're not going to be able to get a defensive stop or a rebound because you're so in your head right there. So it's really important to have a quick reset. And one of the things that we did was had every player just whatever word it was. It could be a color. It could be your mother's name, and told them to have an action with it. So in other words, mine would be I would touch my heart and I'd say my reset word and I'd take a deep breath. Okay, and in coaching, to be perfectly honest with you, that was very helpful because as when your team's spiraling, if you start out, 10 points down, you too as a coach can get, very frustrated or nervous, anxious. So it's really important that those feelings don't come out to your team because then your team's going to play like that. So for me, that was really, really helpful. And I think that's one thing I also would recommend is just finding a word, and it could be a positive word. Obviously don't want a negative word, but something that maybe will bring you into a positive light. Maybe it's a person that you love, something like that, and that was very, very helpful. And I can't emphasize it enough how it is really, really important to practice these things because if you don't practice them, you're never going to get better. And, you, Dan, are a positive person. And so for a lot of people, that's really difficult to do on a daily basis, to wake up and say, thank you, God. And, think of all the things you're grateful for, especially if there are some things that are going tougher in their life. So, we do have to train ourselves to be more like that.
Well, and I appreciate you considering me a positive person. I have definitely gone through my time, and I've gone through my negative moments. My best buddy knows that. My parents know that. I mean, there are times where, I felt like my brain was a giant battlefield, and I was always losing. And and I think what I've learned over time is it's I mean, I remember exactly where I was this past week when I was down at Animal Kingdom, and my head was just going to a certain place, and I stopped myself, like you said. I stopped myself, and I said something I always say to myself, and I said, okay, I'm all right. Because the negative thoughts, and this is another thing, I mean, if you believe in God, which I do, and I know Gina does, believing in God, to me, the devil is trickery. The devil is negativity. The devil is that think bad, think bad, think bad, think bad, because they don't want you to succeed. So to me, when I have a thought in my head that's negative toward me, or I get this notion of I can't control my mind controls me, that to me is the devil talking, and the devil is not allowed in my house. So when I hear that, to me, it's that reaffirming God does not speak to you in riddles. God does not speak to you in hate. God does not speak to you in self-mutilation or self-abuse or negativity. God is never coming at you saying, I hate you, you're worthless, you don't matter. So when you hear those words, understand, I think if you understand the author of the words that are in your mind, then you can understand what you should and should not be reading. If you understand the author, then you know what you shouldn't be reading, and you know what you should be. The author of your life, which to me is God, is never going to speak hate language to you, and is never going to seek to pull you down. If you're blocking yourself from happiness, if you say, how come whenever I'm in relationships, I can never believe somebody loves me, or I can never trust somebody, that's not God. Well, how come I want to chase my dreams and I just don't think I'm ever good enough? That's not God. Mm-hmm. God is that constant well of goodness. That I look up at God sometimes and I go, why do you still and I say this I'll say sometimes why do you still believe in this world? When you see all this craziness and all this negativity and all this bad, why are you still waking us up. Like, why are you doing this? That is unconditional love, but there's got to be another word for that. So if God can believe in this crazy world, then why can't you believe in yourself? Especially if you're a good person trying to do good things. So understand the author of the thoughts in your brain and know that positivity comes from one place, God. Negativity comes from another place, the devil. And to listen to those negative words is to read a book that really should not have been written and shouldn't be read by anybody. So I think it's important to know the author of your thoughts and to understand that when those negative things come through, they're not coming from a place of love. And if you know it's not coming from a place of love, then hopefully that'll be an easier way for you to let go of it.
Exactly. And, sometimes I like to look at God as like my mom or my dad, and like you said, unconditional love. I think they would be very disappointed in me if I was saying negative things about myself, and because they're not, they even though they're Italian, you know how that goes. They got the little sarcasm here and there, but that they totally love you, and for them, I think it's almost like you're hurting them by saying these things, and I think it's just such a great point. And again, I just feel like mental health is just so much bigger. And the great thing about COVID, although I would think it did shine a big light, they're more apt to want to embrace it. So, again, in other words, like if I did this 20 years ago, I think some of the players on my team would have been more skeptical, but now I can do meditation, we can do yoga, we could do things on positive self-talk because they're much more aware on the importance of it. And that's one silver lining, I think, with COVID. And although it did bring out a lot of, mental health issues, we're starting to see how much we don't have for mental health, and how many people don't want to talk about or are embarrassed by it. So it's a great thing that we're focusing on today, and I'm just hoping that in the next year or two it just gets better and better.
Yeah, and I think we do. We have to, continue to focus on this and continue to listen to one another and continue to seek and want to help and want to get better. I think for me, it's such an important thing to make sure that we are taking care of our health, and that we're making sure that this is something that is not going unnoticed or unchecked, because it's incredibly important to me, and has become important to me, to know that you are the keeper of your life, you are the author of your life with God. You're writing your story. And so how you decide to take care of yourself is really going to affect everything in your life. You can't control what other people say to you. You can't control what other people do to you, but you can control what you say to yourself and what you do to yourself. So focus on what you can control and take care of what you can control. The world is going to give you enough. It is going to stress you out enough. It's going to challenge you enough. It's something that I just try to keep with myself daily is, why am I going to give myself more than what the world is already going to put on my plate? I need to get it off my plate as opposed to piling it on more. So understand this world is going to do things you can't control. It's going to say things you can't control. So of the very few things that you have ownership of, which is what you say and do and who you are, take care of it, be good to it. Don't be another negative in somebody else's life, and most certainly don't be a negative in your life. If the entire world is going to say negative things toward you, it's something that I have on my door coming in to my studio, where it says, and I'm paraphrasing, but it says, compromise where you can, and where you can't, don't. Even if the whole world is telling you something wrong is something right, even if they're telling you to move, it is your duty to stand like a tree and say, no, you move. So you have to pick and choose your battles, but you compromise where you can, and where you can't, don't. And when the world is standing against you, don't ever look at the quantity, look at the quality. Because there could be millions of people that are jumping off a cliff. And it is your duty to stand there and say, I'm not jumping off this cliff. I'm not following you all down here. There's certain things I know that will always be in my life. I believe in God. I believe in love. I believe in treating people good. I believe everyone should do what they love and love what they do. I believe everyone should have an equal opportunity to chase their dreams and be healthy and be well. I believe all of us should be in a community hand in hand and be willing to help out our neighbor and understand that things are cyclical. And if you help the hand that's to your left, eventually the hand all the way around to your right is going to help you. Those are the things I hang my hat on every single day. And I believe that laughter truly is the best medicine. And so with all of that, that's what I work to control to the best of my ability. And mental health comes from knowing that, to me, God exists, love exists, laughter is extremely vital, and how you treat people is eventually how you're going to be treated. And how you treat yourself is going to dictate what your life looks like.
Absolutely. Can't, I amen to that. I ultimately, like I say to, my players, the only person you're in control of is yourself, and whatever you want bounces right back at you, so if you want people to be kinder to you, then it starts with you. Everything starts with you, and then it all bounces back, and you have to have faith in that mantra, in the sense. And in terms of people and the negative, one of the best quotes I've ever heard was from an esthetician that was from the Capital District, the Albany area, and she spoke about how sometimes you just have to gently step over the negative people. And so you always want to surround yourself with good people. If you see that people are not the right ones for you, you gently step over them. You don't try to bully through. You just walk away. And I that's always been something that I've always reflected back to when I find myself in situations like that. So yeah. It's all great stuff, Dan.
I love it. You gently step over them. You don't step on them. You don't kick them. You just gently step over
the negative ones. Exactly.
Yeah. Best people and most awesome friends that I made by accident in this wonderful world of sports. Gina Castelli here with us. Sports Ends with a Vowel, bi-monthly on Tuesdays. I am just so thankful to have somebody like you in my life to recharge my battery and reboot my system when I need it, like a conversation like this. So thank you, Gina, for all that you do.
Thank you, Dan. It's always a pleasure. Have a great day today.
I'll talk with you soon.
Okay, Dan.
And go Bills. I'm not going to say this all the time, but I'm going to say go Bills.
If you're nice to the Bills, maybe the Jacksonville Jaguars will win.
If I'm nice to the Bills, maybe some of them will play for the Jaguars. That's no, not like that. I'm just saying if Buffalo plays on a Thursday, maybe Josh Allen and company can wear teal jerseys on a Sunday and help me out a little bit.
Funny.
That's all I'm saying.
All right. Have a great day.
Take care. That coming from Gina Castelli here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. So with that being said, we're going to take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, we'll be joined by yet another announcement in the world of LeMoyne College here with expansive Dolphin time. As you know, our multimedia marketing partnership is bringing you the LeMoyne College Dolphins in a way you've never had before, spotlighting an entire institution like has never been done. And we'll continue to challenge and push the bar for that for our LeMoyne College Dolphins here in the community, and I'm very, very thankful. So we'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, Mary Grimes will be joining me to speak on her unveiling of her 2021-2022 women's basketball schedule. And, of course, Mary being hired to LeMoyne from Gina Castelli and is now back at LeMoyne. So thank you to Gina. It's all connected. And understand, folks, to step lightly over the negativity and negative people. Don't kick them. Don't step on them. But learn to, and don't be underneath that and suffocated by it. Learn to step over it and move forward. We'll take a step aside on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. inside the Cafe Kubal studios and be back right after this.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt and facebook.com/livenowdt, and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, all the places that you're watching and listening to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, not just today, but every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Very excited here to have on the broadcast with me once again for some extra Dolphin time, and that is Miss Mary Grimes, who joins me here today coming off of the release of the 2021-2022 women's basketball schedule for the LeMoyne College Dolphins. So we got plenty of stuff to discuss, including, and of course, circling that new schedule that's come out for you. And so coming off of that news, we are here on Wake Up Call to discuss that with Miss Mary. Mary, how are we doing today?
We're doing well, and I'd be remiss if I didn't share my "What's up, Dan?" with everybody.
No, and it's, you know, when you answer the phone and you get that, like I said, it's like that needs to be my ringtone for you. You know, so like when you call and it's in my pocket, you just hear, "What's up, Dan?" And I'm like, "Whoa, Dan, what?" And so, but leave it on during the movies, church, that type of stuff. But it's awesome to have that energy and that positivity. And that's where I want to begin things, is where does that energy, I know we've talked about stuff before, but where does that energy come from? Do you ever have a bad day? And if you did, would anybody know it?
Yeah, I have a bad day, but, it was pretty cool last night. We had our all-department meeting. We talked about the LeMoyne way and just what to be grateful for. So even when there are bad days, there's always something to be grateful for, and there's something positive you can find in life. And I just really try to focus on those things, you know. And I just am a positive person. I don't necessarily know exactly where it comes from, but I mean, you know, if you gave me a glass of water and says it half empty, half full, I'm always gonna see it half full. So it's just easier to live that way. Honestly, so you know, there's a lot of things that can bring you joy even if in the dark times.
Yeah, you know, and for you, like you said, you know, finding something that's positive and finding something good even in the rough days. When you have to dig deep and find something positive, how do you channel that? How do you find the positive when it's hard to find the positive?
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of get a little quiet in the moment and think, you know, there was a time where we were at Albany, and I think we lost our last non-conference game. And, I mean, honestly, I think it comes from God. And, you know, everybody was upset because we're on a win streak. And all I remember is walking to my office and just thinking or hearing, this too shall pass. You know, and so I wasn't upset. You know, I mean, we learned, we grew from it, and we won America East Championship, and there was a reason for that. So I just kind of get quiet and think, like, what is the reason in this moment why I'm going through this struggle? So I lean on God for that, and it's worked out for me well.
Speaking here with Mary Grimes this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, like you said, leaning on God helps you out, and I definitely can appreciate that, respect that, second that, echo that every step of the way. That, you know, God is what gets you through it, and you know, the positivity that you could take from the fact that you know, I just said it to somebody recently a few days ago. I said, you know, I may not know what my future holds, but I know who holds my future. So. You know, having that and those values leading us back to LeMoyne and the Jesuit values and the positivity. What's it like for you to be back home? I mean, you have been here before, you've experienced LeMoyne before, but now to be a head coach and to be back home and to be surrounded by these values. And I know that this isn't, you know, your home, birthplace home, but another home away from home for you. What's it like to be back around these values and back around people that want to instill God and positivity and goodness and, you know, health and wellness and well-being, that you are surrounded by this environment that obviously brought you some peace and some goodness when you were here a few years ago?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. You know, we're all speaking the same language. We're all here for the right reasons, and you know, it's pretty cool just to hear everybody, you know, in their struggles, that they can lean on each other, and, you know, that positivity and that love that you feel around campus and around the, you know, athletic department is pretty awesome. And, you know, I think in this time of my life, it was the right time. And so, you know, I'm just excited to be back and, you know, just taking it one day at a time.
That coming here from Mary Grimes, the LeMoyne Dolphins women's basketball head coach, taking it one day at a time, getting practice back out there, getting to, you know, work out these young women and whatnot. What have you seen from the early moments of being back at LeMoyne as far as the team that you have and the talent that is going to be on the court this season? What can you tell us from what you've seen so far?
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty seasoned. We're a pretty veteran team, and that has boded well for us early on. You know, I can say three-man weave, and, you know, they know exactly what it is. Now, there's some nuances to the three-man weave that I might, you know, say, hey, we're not dribbling in the three-man weave or something like that. So there's some things that, you know, I may demand in that respect and those details. But, you know, everybody's picking it up pretty quick. They're like sponges right now, just, you know, absorbing all the new information. And I tell you what, we are kicking butt in the weight room, thanks to Bengal. I mean, he's pushing them in there, testing them, and I mean, they're just embracing it and getting stronger, which is gonna, you know, help us in the long run. when we make our run.
And looking at that, like you said, helping you in the long run when you make your run here, the schedule being released, we now have that in front of us. It's now a real thing, and the first game coming up is in 43 days from the time that we're talking right now, so a little over a month away as you get set to tip off on November 17th on a Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time against East Stroudsburg University on Ted Grant Court. The first game of your season is going to be at home. Bring me into the schedule. We could break it down in different pieces here, but as we look at the schedule, what should we be seeing through your eyes?
Yeah, well, I appreciate the countdown. Joanna, she's got a couple countdowns for me going as well. Countdown to practice, countdown to games. So thank you for that. It's a pretty competitive non-conference schedule. We're excited, as far as like East Stroudsburg. We're their first game too, so it'll be a good test for us. And the benefit for us is we can watch what they've done previously, and for them is that they haven't. They may assume we're going to run the same thing as before, or we're going to defend the same way, and so we might have a couple tricks up our sleeve, a little advantage in that respect. But I think it's a pretty competitive non-conference schedule. With Ashland, Roberts, they're always competitive. Damon, they made it to the Elite Eight a couple years ago, but I feel like everybody's on equal playing ground. We haven't played in a while. Everybody's beginning to gel again, and so for me, it's great because I can introduce something new, and our team is just responding. So we're looking forward to it. We're excited, and I'm happy it's home. We've got some goals as far as home games and what we want to accomplish. So just happy that we're going to be in Syracuse and show the fans and the community what we've been working on for a couple months.
And you mentioned assistant coach Joanna Dabrowski and having her back on this team. For you brought her in, you recruited her. We've talked about the story before and how cool it is that you were coaching the Bigs under Gina Castelli and had Joanna there in your room, and now Joanna's coaching the Bigs and she's under you as the head coach. And so how has this relationship been? Did it feel like you missed a beat now that she's back on campus with you? Just what it's been like to have Joanna back there with you at LeMoyne, and what this new chapter feels like.
Yeah, we balance each other really, really well. She's coaching the bigs and I'm coaching the guards, and any idea out there, she just embraces it as well and willing to learn. And it's almost a competition in the office who can be more positive. But there's times where we got to have a good cop, bad cop, and so that's what's been really good is if I get on them, she can come back and say, hey, but this is what we did well. So it's been really good in that respect where she picks up on me and I pick up on her, and the vibes are gelling pretty well in the office and on the court and in the weight room.
When there has to be a good cop, bad cop, do you guys ever change that? Do you always have to be the bad cop as the head coach? How does that work?
Well, so far we've only had a couple of those, so we shall see. I think I'm just giving her, a lot of responsibilities as far as taking ownership of the post players. So, if we have an individual workout, I'm down with the guards and I'll peek down with the post, and, she's making them work. She's very demanding of them. If they don't make their goals, there's, something that they have to do to have repercussions for those goals. And that's essentially, how I coach is like, hey, we're demanding, we have a goal, and this is what's going to happen if we don't reach the goal. So it's been really good in that respect that she understands that, and she just takes it and runs with it. So we haven't had too many experiences thus far, but you scoot over 12 inches and it just seems to you wear that hat. So I don't mind it, but like I said, I have more positive days than bad days. So even if there is a tough time, it's not going to last.
What has been, speaking here with Mary Grimes, the head coach of LeMoyne College, Dolphins women's basketball team here for the first time ever as a head coach, but not the first time ever with LeMoyne. What has been your biggest challenge of these last few weeks?
Just learning and growing myself, balancing, workouts with team management, ordering gear or, distributing gear. I'd say that just day-to-day management and, making my list and checking things off. It's just different responsibilities as a head coach as far as I'm on a committee on campus, meetings, head coaches meetings, things like that, that you just kind of show up as an assistant and kind of, all right, what are we doing today? It's, but as a head coach, you kind of just have to lead. So, just being on every day and having my list and checking it off and, it's just day to day. I'm not, looking too far ahead. That's what Joe reminds me for. I should say.
So, having that back and forth off the court with Joe, what can you say about what that's been like to be able to, bounce ideas off of somebody who you obviously have mutual respect for and somebody who you see something in, you see a light in. So what is it like to have Joe off the court to be able to just, go through life with and to have, someone that you trust there that when you invited to come back to LeMoyne said yes to you, just what that's been like?
Yeah, as far as off the court, we're at two different points in our life, but I enjoy the things that she shares off the court. She enjoys the things I share off the court as far as my kids and everything like that. I'll share a picture of them running around in the neighborhood and, she's right now at home with her parents and she lives on the farm and so she'll send me a picture of her chickens or her pigs, so it's been good to get to know her on that level as well. So, where we have different lives, but it's cool that we're open and willing to share that, it's not just about basketball. We got a lot of other things going on in our lives.
Absolutely, and as we get set for what's going on in the lives of people in this community, why should they come to Ted Grant Court? Why should they come see this women's basketball team? What do you want to tell the community about LeMoyne women's basketball and what should put their butt in the seats?
You're going to see a great brand of basketball. These ladies have put in a lot of time, over the summer, during the preseason. They're going to play with a lot of passion. They're going to work hard, and you're going to get your money's worth when you get in on Ted Grant Court. It's going to be exciting. We're going to defend. We're going to get up and down. We're going to play exciting brand of basketball. Everybody wants to see you put the ball in the hole, and that's our goal is to score 70-plus points a game. And it's going to be competitive. I don't think there's anybody on our schedule where I could say, oh, that's the easy win. It's going to be a competitive brand of basketball. So, bring your popcorn, bring your Skittles or your Raisinets, whatever you got, and, come out and support us because it's going to be fun to watch.
And, seeing your brand of basketball, where do you pull from? Is it something that you've always had? Is it a style that you've always gone with? Or is it a mixture of something that you've seen from time, around the country at Xavier and different places with Gina and whatnot? How has your style been molded together, so to speak?
Yeah, I'd say it's just, educating myself on basketball. I've been in some great conferences, been around some great coaches. Excuse me, even in this conference, there are some great coaches in the NE10, so I just kind of pull from everywhere. I have a notebook of, my plays that I love and my defenses that I love. So, I knew when this day came, okay, this is something I really liked. I like this offense that Creighton was running, like a quick hitter, or this transition that DePaul was running, or even within our conference, some high-low action that Bentley's running, So, I've always been X's and O's, even from my AAU days. I still have my AAU playbook from my last year AAU. So, I'll reference it. Like, we had a really good post player. How did we get her the ball? What play did we run? So I know they're probably obsolete now, but it's like an encyclopedia for me. I've got, my playbook that I have, and, I just pull from it. And, I'll ask Jo, I say, hey, what do you think about this action? And she always likes it. And I told her yesterday, I said, well, you can't like everything, Jo, so she's like I said, she's positive, but, it's been good to bounce some things off of her. And so I'm pulling from everywhere. I don't think there's like a, one-stop shop for basketball. You kind of got to grow with the game, and, where it's going, it's exciting, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Where is the women's game going? Where is it developing? Where do you see women's basketball at this point?
I mean, it's just growing around the country, within our communities. I think, more women, young ladies are getting involved, and they're playing with a lot of passion, and it's great to see. I think we've kind of been rejuvenated with the pandemic, and understanding, that it is a good brand of basketball in the WNBA and whatnot. Like, you're going to get quality, maybe not the quantity, but you're going to get quality. So I think it's just going to keep growing from there. The players are more polished, they're more developed, and it's exciting to see.
As we look at this schedule, going back here for a second, following the 2021-2022 schedule release for the LeMoyne College Dolphins women's basketball team, here with their head coach Mary Grimes on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. The NE10, the conference that you play within, is going to see you immediately. After that first game, East Stroudsburg, a non-conference on November 17th, you're going to be home against the University of New Haven on November 20th, Saturday at 1 p.m., and then you'll be on the road at the College of St. Rose on November 23rd, a Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. in Albany. What can you say about the fact that the NE10 conference play begins the second game of the season, and as I'm looking at the schedule right now, in your first 6 games, 4 of them are going to be conference play for the NE10?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that, it's going to change. It kind of always has been like that. So it's kind of like football, where every game is important, and every game is going to be important right away. So we're getting our tests and getting our feet wet right away in the conference. So, that just makes the preparation a little bit more focused. And like I said, there's no easy game ever in this conference. So, we'll play East Stroudsburg, and then we got to, get really focused on our conference play, because, every game matters, and, it's a competition, within our conference to make it to the NCAA tournament, and it's a really strong competitive conference that sends multiple teams in to the NCAA tournament. So every game matters, so we're excited. It is what it is. It's always been that way, so I'm not going to change it. And, we're just going to have to get after it. It just brings us into focus a lot quicker.
And coming out of, obviously I know you weren't the coach here last season, but coming through this COVID time, how difficult was it? Did you have any issues schedule-wise? Was there anything that you had to, shore up last minute, or an extra game you had to add in, or somebody you had to move because of the last 18 months? Did you experience any of that in the 2021-2022 schedule?
No, for the most part, Coach Castelli blessed me with a finished schedule. Thank you for that, Coach, if you're listening. So, I had maybe 1 or 2 changes as far as a Thanksgiving holiday or Christmas break that we kind of just made an adjustment to, but nothing COVID related. We just kind of proceeded as things, were quote unquote normal. But just as far as balancing school and balancing days off, we just tweaked it over Christmas and Thanksgiving break, just to make sure both teams were prepared, and we're keeping in mind the student athlete balance, and make sure we can get them home and get them back and be being able to, put our coach's hat back on and say, okay, you guys had your break. Let's get after it. So Roberts and Damon's, they worked well with me, and I worked with them, and it worked out well.
There's some of these teams that you're going to see a couple times in the regular season. There's some teams you're going to see once. A team like Bentley, you're going to be on the road. They're not going to come to Ted Grant Court. Games like that against a team like Bentley, having that one shot against them. I know that Gina, when she was here, they were a force to be reckoned with. So what can you say about you're going to get to see a lot of these teams in the NE10 twice, but there's certain teams that you're only going to get one shot at, one of them being Bentley.
Yeah, I mean, it puts a little bit more added pressure on those crossover games, and it being on the road and knowing the history of Bentley, it's almost kind of cool that we had a year off, because, it's anybody's game now. Everybody's kind of on an even playing field, so there's not like a last season to compare it with, because everybody took a year off. But those crossover games are really important. But we're going to embrace that pressure and not let our pipes burst. We're going to make diamonds. That's two things that can happen when you have pressure. We're looking to make diamonds.
And final point here, as we spoke a little bit about the non-conference, you have East Stroudsburg University, Roberts Wesleyan College as well, and those both are going to be at home. And then Ashland on the road and Damon on the road. 4 non-conference games. What are you hoping to get as maybe a litmus test of the country when you play those 4 games outside of the NE10?
Yeah, I mean, they're all going to be competitive. Ashland's a national powerhouse. They've won NCAA championships. It'll be a tough game, but it'll be a good test for us going into our conference, because they're very similar to the teams we play, very competitive. And Roberts, last time I was here, we lost at Roberts, so I kind of, marked that on the calendar, circled it a little bit, and and then as far as East Stroudsburg, for me, there's a little history, because the head coach, she played at Marist when I played at Siena, so I definitely circled that. And last time out, I think LeMoyne lost, so we circled that as well. But it's just going to be good to play somebody outside our conference that we don't quote unquote know as well. And looking to just get some experience for the young players that we have, and get the core of the team gelling well. So when we head into conference play, things are clicking.
Yeah, coming from Mary Grimes, LeMoyne College Dolphins women's basketball head coach, coming to us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Cafe Kubal studios on the heels of the announcement of the 2021-2022 women's basketball schedule. Folks, you got plenty of games to go to here in Syracuse, New York. The first being the first game of the season, as we mentioned, November 17th, a Wednesday, at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, as the LeMoyne Dolphins women's basketball program will face off against East Stroudsburg University. It is 43 days away. So as I tell people with anything, you can't make excuses if you have the time to make it. So you got 43 days to clear out 5:30 p.m. on November 17th on your schedule and come see Mary's return to LeMoyne in the first game of the season. Mary, as always, I appreciate it. I thank you for that, and I'm excited about the fact that we don't have to wait too long to have that very special and proud moment of you stepping back out onto the court as a Dolphin.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I appreciate you.
I look forward to talking with you soon, okay?
All right. Thanks, Dan.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbeville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand butter chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Hope you're having yourselves a tremendous morning this morning where sports meets that thing called life here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Cafe Kubal studios. You're listening on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt as well as on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, and you're watching and listening on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and on facebook.com/live-now-DT. And once you listen, you can go and search in the archives and hear the shows back on Stitcher, Spotify, MixLR, YouTube, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and Podbean by simply searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. And a proud thanks to all of our fantastic partners, Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, LeMoyne Dolphins, Pizza Man, Progressive Dental, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Avicolli's, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, the Millhouse Market, Honda City of Liverpool, PB&J's Lunchbox, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, and Mother's Cupboard, our central and upstate New York partners. I want to say thank you to each of them. And, of course, a big-time thank you to the Marywood University Pacers, as we have a multimedia marketing partnership with Marywood University, the first of its kind in the history of Marywood University, and want to give a big-time shout-out to some great news this morning, as Marywood University student-athletes' overall grade point average out of 4 is 3.45, so an over 3.4 grade point average at Marywood University for their student-athletes cumulatively, putting the student and student-athlete. I also want to shout out Angie Genser, who is the Field Hockey Player of the Week inside of the Atlantic East Conference where Marywood plays. A big shout-out to Angie on being named Player of the Week for field hockey. So much love and appreciation for that. And, of course, that 3.45 GPA grade point average for Marywood University student-athletes currently. Pacer Pride. Marywood University featured every single month in the exclusive broadcast Pacer Pride, and you can go back and watch our most recent Pacer Pride broadcast, the inaugural episode, with the Executive Director of Athletics, Pat Murphy, by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. With all that being said here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, it's time for us to jump into our final piece of every single Tuesday show, and that is the segment Ingredients to Success, proudly brought to you by Avicolli's on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. It is also the home for us for our monthly Liverpool Warriors Athletic Showcase broadcast, the Spotlight shows. We were just there with field hockey, and we're looking forward to being back there here in October at Avicolli's for yet another show with the with the Liverpool Warriors athletic program. Very excited to be there with Liverpool every single month, featuring the Warriors on the pizza side, the casual side. We take it over whenever we're there, whatever night we're there, so make sure you stay close so that you can make sure you get a seat and you know when to get there and what day to be there on, as Avicolli's and I are very proud to feature the Liverpool Warriors athletic programs. And a big shout out to Ari Lieberman and the entire team over at Liverpool High School that helped to continue to elevate their programs and elevate the student athletes that they have in the student body in general, so that we could do amazing things like have them on site, on location with their coaches and their teammates. So much love to Liverpool Warriors and much love to Avicolli's as we get set here to bring you, which I'm very excited to do every Tuesday, the Ingredients to Success, a new topic and new ingredients to success. So the topic for today is how to survive a rainy day. That's the topic of today, because it's been rainy in central and upstate New York, and sometimes it gets dreary, and when it gets rainy, it's a little bit harder to maybe get out of a negative mood. Maybe, it makes you more tired, or it makes you depressed, it makes you down and sad. They say that without the sun, some people get really, really down. So today is how to survive a rainy day. That's what we're going to talk about with the ingredients to success. And how do you survive a rainy day? Well, you first and foremost have to have a positive mindset. You have to be excited to be awake, excited to be alive. Now listen, I know some days are better than others. I know some of us are going through breakups, or there's a death in the family, or we've been sick, or we've been stressed out, or we lost a job, or things are just not going our way. Maybe somebody's treating us unfairly, maybe multiple people are. Whatever that may be, but wake up with a grateful heart. That is how you survive a rainy day. You wake up with a grateful heart, thankful to God for your life, thankful to just be here. Another way of surviving a rainy day, have a kit, right? Think about it. Okay, it's a rainy day, it's dreary outside, it's kind of ugly, it's kind of gray. What am I going to do? Well, think about some stuff you can do inside. If you have, a family and whatnot, play some board games. Put that together. Bring back Chutes and Ladders. Bring back the games where you actually had to think. You couldn't just turn on a computer and start hitting buttons. And I know you have to think in those games, but a game where you can actually create the imagination yourself, because you want to definitely help water the imaginations of the future of today and the present of today. So definitely Bring out some board games. How else do you survive a rainy day? Get together with people that you love. Have lunch with somebody you care about. Have dinner with somebody you care about. Make a phone call. Having people in your life that are so amazing and wonderful is great. Reaching out to them is even better. To sit here and say, wow, I got great friends. Well, why don't you call them? Well, Dan, they're working, so shoot them a text message. Well, Dan, they didn't respond. Okay, so they'll get back to you when they get out of work. But reach out to your loved ones and either see them in person or call them on the phone or text them. I always say if you can see somebody, see somebody. If you can't see them, call them. If you can't call them, text them. That's my line. Number 1 is to be in person. Number 2 is to call on the phone. Number 3 is to text. So I would say how do you survive a rainy day? Surround yourself with people that you love. And if you have a dog or a cat or somebody in the house, whoever it may be, curl up today and watch a movie. And if it's just you, then grab some hot chocolate, grab some tea, grab some coffee at Cafe Cubal, and sit there and pick your favorite movie or a TV show that you wanted to watch the last couple of days and curl up and do it. My favorite things to do on a rainy day are to call the people I love, try and maybe see my mom or my dad for lunch or something like that, to curl up with Lily and hang out with her, and to watch a movie. Those are my favorite things to do on a rainy day. Thank God for waking me up. Try to be around somebody that I love. Call my friends or text my friends. Find a good movie or TV show. And, just curl up in bed with my pup Lily. That's what I like to do. That's how I'm surviving a rainy day. So I've given you some ingredients to success to survive your rainy day or your cloudy day today. So hopefully you'll take some of that and you will take a negative and turn it into a positive. Because I don't care if it's raining or shining as long as I'm alive. So make the most of today by finding what your rainy day could entail. A board game, a movie, some hot chocolate, making dinner, whatever it is, be good to yourself and be good to each other. And have a great day. Proudly brought to you by Avicolli's on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. Open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. And every Tuesday here with the ingredients to success. We love you and we appreciate you, Avicolli's. Thank you for being here for our community. And thank you for navigating through one of the toughest times that we've all had together. We appreciate you, and I appreciate the community that supports local, including Avicolli's.
Cafe Cabal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafecubal.com. Cafe Cubal, coffee for the soul.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpassnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Here at Progressive Dental, we understand the importance of regular dental visits and preventive care. Cleanings and checkups are essential to good oral health. We have multiple locations in the Southern Tier, so come visit us in Binghamton, Enwell, Kirkwood, Montrose, and Norwich. For self-pay non-insured patients, we offer the Smile Plan, which covers all of your cleanings, x-rays, and exams for an affordable yearly price. Call 607-754-2273 or 607-754-CARE to make an appointment today. For more information, visit our website at progressivedentalny.com.
The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every single time. Make sure that you download their app on the Google Play or Apple App Store today, and you'll have everything at your fingertips for the Millhouse Market, from their homemade breads and desserts to their quinoa bowls, rice bowls, as well as their salads, brick oven pizzas, and sandwiches named after the families that helped to settle today's Pulaski. Ingrained in our community and ingrained in our taste buds, the Millhouse Market is there for you Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and on Sundays from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And when I say they're there for you, their general store is open, their indoor dining, as well as their drive-through pickup window where you don't have to leave your car and you can grab your food and go. By using the Millhouse Market app, you have contactless pay, you can tip on the app, and you can get directions from wherever you are to the Millhouse Market while you're ordering your food. So make sure you take advantage of the Millhouse Market's many different avenues of greatness. And of course, every weekend the bistro menu changes, so you definitely want to go to the Millhouse Market and dine in every weekend because that menu is never the same. So make sure you do that today and all throughout the week. And thank you so much for those of you that support local and support the Millhouse Market on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. Worth the drive every single time. With that being said, on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life inside the Cafe Kubal studios, I want to give a special thank you to MaandPazPopcorn.com for bringing us what's poppin'. Use the promo code in any one of the 50 states, DT20, that's DT20, to get 20% off at MaandPazPopcorn.com. A very big thank you to our guests that had it poppin' this morning. LeMoyne College Dolphins men's basketball head coach Nate Champion and women's basketball head coach Mary Grimes unveiling their 2021-2022 schedules just a few days ago and coming here to speak on that right after they had unveiled the schedules. And of course, the mental health conversation we had in our bi-monthly segment here, Sports Ends in a Vowel, with Gina Castelli, who was at LeMoyne and hired Mary Grimes originally to come to LeMoyne. So big shout out to Gina Castelli, and of course Avicolli's for your ingredients to success. And as I mentioned, LeMoyne, I want to tell you all one more time, fins up. As you know, that Dolphin Time, we had some bonus Dolphin Time this week, but Dolphin Time is for you every single Wednesday. Set the dial and remember it. Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time is Dolphin Time on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single week, with the first Wednesday of every week, first and third Wednesday of every month, I should say, AD and DT with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora, tackling a different topic every time we sit down and speak. And every second and fourth Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, we have the Dolphin Dive, which features one of our very special LeMoyne Dolphin student athletes, coaches, or staff members. So we're starting off a new month here in October, which means AD and DT will start things off. My third episode with Bob Beretta for AD and DT officially happens for you this Wednesday, October 6th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, and I can't wait to see you there, and I can't wait to see you at the Ted Grant Field, Ted Grant Court, and all over LeMoyne College to support our wonderful and extremely great students and athletes, those LeMoyne College Dolphins. Big shout out to the Dolphins, and as always, fins up. With that being said, on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I bid you adieu and hope that you have a fantastic day. God bless, no stress, do your best. Please be safe, please be good to each other, and please have a wonderful, wonderful day, night, and so on. Find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. And as I said, God bless, no stress, do your best.